shocked when he's telling the story.
This was seen as like a structure shot by a lot of Palestinians, especially now. Like maybe then you had some supporters of it, but now this is seen.
People were divided back then.
Just because also it kind of seems like it's not panning out doesn't mean that the PLO didn't at one point in a major change of direction reject violence and accept Israel's existence. They did. They still formed.
Yeah, and that was a mistake.
I would actually
say it still holds, and people like Mood and there's many figures in the Palestinian community in the West Bank who are like this, that once embraced militancy and violent resistance, and now shun it. They take a non-violent types of protest.
Exactly, that's what's going on.
And they believe in diplomacy over there.
So Arafat was pressured into doing two things: recognizing Israel and denouncing so-called acts of terrorism. But Arafat himself funded and aided the resistance in the Second Intifada, hence why they assassinated him. The PA's security wings were involved in the Second Intifada, and some of its leadership were on the battlefield fighting.
That was a big mistake.
Marwan Barouti is in prison, convicted on the charges of aiding and abetting in the terrorist activities of killing five Israeli soldiers, I think.
Okay, so Daniel says Mood is a terror supporter. Mood, talk to Daniel. Do you support terrorism?
Of course not.
Of course not. Have you ever hurt an innocent person in your life? Yes or no?
Never.
Never.
I don't hear even a snake.
Nobody having it.
I don't hear a snake.
You have any cameras?
No one's spelling anything.
Better come.
Yes.
I was a leader. I'm still. I was a militant, resistant, and now I am a peace fighter.
It's a peace fighter.
I am a peace fighter.
You understand, Daniel? So this is the problem with Israelis. When they don't hurt anybody, when they try non-violent resistance, when they make explosions that don't hurt anybody, Daniel calls them a terrorist. Daniel calls a non-violent protest against occupation terrorism.
Yeah,
where's the terrorist, Daniel? Yes.
The idea of open fire. The protesters.
You can't win. So when you do non-violent resistance, when you have a first intifada where there's no one's bringing guns to the party, right? Then what does Rabin say? He says shoot him in the legs, right? So when you try non-violent resistance, Israel responds brutally. Daniel is a case in point.
Rabin said that?
Yeah, but
I thought Rabin was a former terrorist who became a peace advocate.
He was, but people don't know. During the first intifada, he said, shoot these thousands of kids who have no legs.
Can I tell you? No, I want to say something first, Kim, please. So a few days ago, there was a news item from Khan 11 saying, for the first time in decades, Jewish terrorism surpasses Palestinian terrorism in the West Bank. Now, that might sound like some Zionists are coming to their senses, right? However, that's wrong. Why? Because when we look at what they would constitute as terror attacks, in order to make that demonstration, I'm going to tell you a story about something that happened a few days ago. A 14-year-old child was shot in the West Bank, and for 45 minutes, soldiers stood on top of him, looking at him, bleeding to death. He threw his hat at them, begging for help. His mother was standing 200 meters away, screaming for help, but they did nothing. But that will not be constituted a terror attack. 8 months ago, a 23-year-old pregnant woman was waiting in a checkpoint with her husband. She was 8 months pregnant. Their new command from the IDF said that everybody that looks in a suspicious way on the ground must be neutralized in every way possible. She got out of the car to stretch her leg. 8 months pregnant, not a lot of women here, but I can tell you need to stretch your legs. But apparently she was funny on the. Shut up, let me finish. Shut up, let me finish.
But this is like a conversation we were having.
Let me finish.
We were having a totally different conversation.
She was shot dead. So when we talk about terror attacks, we need to understand that Israel has a very specific way of framing this and presenting this to the world. So it might be very nice for Zionists to say for the first time Jewish terrorism surpasses Palestinian ones. However, that's not been the case for years because the IDF has been slaughtering them for years. So whenever you engage with Hasbara, these are the kind of tactics that you need to look out for.
Thank
I
you.
hope that was correct.
Yeah, I was curious about Mood. Are you familiar with the group Combatants for Peace? And are you involved in them?
No, peace fighters. I follow them on Facebook. Peace fighters.
Yeah, that's them.
Yes, I love them. I follow them.
What are they about? Tell us about them.
The same, they are supporting, they are pro-Bali and they go always, protest, support the Palestinians cases, other stuff. I respect. They are very kind people.
It's Israelis and Palestinians.
Exactly.
We need more of this. Like ally shit.
That's correct. We need to organize also, they left the leadership, I can organize such, charities. I don't want to call them military organization. I don't like organizations. We like charity. We make charity to support our case, in a peaceful way.
We're in the midst of a full-on ethical cleanse between the river and the sea. Everywhere that there is a Palestinian, they're putting that boot down. I don't know how to be more clear about this.
Yes, we agree.
We have to prepare.
You have to think 1940. Dude, you gotta be quiet. Sorry, I can't talk to you. Just be quiet for a second.
What I find interesting here, as an observer, I'm trying to listen to Palestinians mostly. It's very interesting to hear all the diversity, and from on the ground Palestinians, not on the ground Palestinians.
Shocking. They're humans with pluralism.
Ambrose, stop it. Yeah, I'm not who you think I am. Stop it.
You literally embarrassed yourself right now.
Stop it. I didn't call them not human. What I said is it's helpful to hear the different views. Of course I knew they existed, but it's helpful to hear them because I don't necessarily go in those circles and have access. This is why I come here to listen. You don't know who I am. So fuck off.
Triggered match?
I like your profile picture, Caleb.
For someone who was trying
Why do you want his picture, mister?
you seen it, unify everybody in hatred.
I like it. It's beautiful.
Nachman!
Very nice.
Ribbon Shalom. Welcome to my live stream broadcast of the Ambrose Show and Buttercup, as well as Palestinian terrorists. You're not going to believe this shit you're going to hear. Crash out. Hello? Hello? Welcome to the show. Hit the like button and subscribe right now. Good Friday is here. Hello? 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 Good Shabbos, everybody. Shalom. It's almost Shabbos. Just one more thing. Hello?
The state is
Sorry, I had too much coffee this morning.
Lebanon and Syria and Jordan. It goes beyond your river to the sea.
Yes, I am the Jewish ambassador.
I am not. We actually literally are going back to
Jewish Arabism, Palestine. For fuck's sake, Ben. We were talking about something that happens right now. No, hold on.
Yes, and Arabism can include Jews.
Right now, we are talking about something that is happening right now, literally to a friend sitting on the panel with us. Like in a few months, you might not be able to talk to him. Do you understand this? Or this is just a video game to you?
Oh no, it's not a video game to me to have my land occupied. It's not a video game to me to see my people. Which, by the way, I see the Palestinians as my people. I don't look at someone from Palestine and say, "Oh, you're a stranger" or "You're different." No, he's absolutely no different than me, in no way, shape, or form. Actually, if anything, some parts of Palestine are closer to me as a Damascene than someone from Aleppo or Raqqa or Deir ez-Zor or Asad.
How does that change the fact that a military that is after genocide is slowly closing on our friend Jindib here and on 2.8 other million Palestinians in the West Bank?
Yes, and that military is like 20 kilometers away from Damascus too. My homeland, where my family is. What does that matter to you? No, because it's not part of the river and the sea? Doesn't matter?
Yes, right now there are no tanks and bulldozers heading toward
There are literally tanks right outside of Damascus.
Okay, sure. Then I discriminate and I prioritize Palestinians. Sue me.
If you were in one state, I would.
Good luck.
I
will sue you under Sharia law.
The citizenship. I thought there was a pathway to
You can only take to Sharia law. Sharia courts in Israel only applies to Muslims. You can try to take them to rabbinical court, but I'm Jewish, so I have supremacy there. You're fucked. Free Palestine.
And my homeland, in which thousands and hundreds and thousands of people are being killed, and no one talks about it. My homeland. How about that?
Actually, there's a group of Jews on here talking about it for 40 days now. Or however long it's been going on.
You remember me? You know,
Oh my God, baby. How you doing? Good, oh baby, boy. How you doing, bro?
See you again. I'm happy.
I know he's my favorite person too.
Butter, is he still flirting with you?
Every day. Nice party with Emrose too.
Oh, fuck. Oh, look at you, bro. You got 3 bodies ready
Stop
for you.
flirting.
We're joking. We're being tongue in cheek. He's happily married. He's just adorable.
Do you know what happened in Jericho a few days ago?
What happened? Tell us.
It was a turning point. Settlers came with bulldozers. Usually when they come to bulldoze Palestinian houses, the military is involved. There's some sort of an official or pseudo-official representative there. But this time it was just 15 settlers with huge bulldozers that simply tore through an entire block in Jericho because they could. Nobody did shit. That's what we're facing everywhere. And Jindib is literally in the heart of that fucking hurricane.
Also, Judy's family, she went back to visit them. They have it hard. They live in like a refugee camp, so really things are really difficult. They've never really had good freedom of movement. They've always been like laden with checkpoints. There's literally like a settlement literally facing her home, and there's like soldiers pointing guns at her home. You know what I mean? Like this is her life.
What?
But since she went back, she says now you really can't travel even between the village and the city. You have to like a 10-minute trip is now like a 2-hour trip.
2 hours is a good scenario.
Whereas like the settlers,
I think
have
we're
nice roads.
I saw a video of Bill Clinton today. He's been cited.
A lot of them, by the way,
Hello?
are checkpoints, right? It's just settlers that decided that they want to badger and harass Palestinians, so they do. And sometimes those checkpoints result in a 23-year-old woman, 8 months pregnant, shot dead because she looked funny at the ground.
Yeah. I'll put the link in the chat so people can keep up.
Ribbon Shalom.
It's basically the only
Ribbon Shalom. Ribbon Shalom.
assisted by the army, by the security forces, and they come in, they bulldoze wherever they
Ribono shel olam.
How can we help you?
This is called the M. Rose Buttercup Show.
A few days ago, that settlers complained to the army about Palestinians coming to flower agriculture properties. And Israel uses an Ottoman Empire decree from 1859 that states that if a landowner
Cultural.
doesn't tend or live on his land,
Keyword of the day is cultural appropriation.
the king or the ruler can take that land. And settlers were complaining that Palestinians were coming to flower their land. So the army prevented those Palestinians from coming. And if they can prevent them for 250 years, there goes your land. And that has been done for decades and decades. But it's the first time that we have proof that the army actually fulfills settler requests to such actions.
Try to explain that to anyone who is in Palestinian.
I'm trying to explain so much things here, but people are nuts. Yes, this is why Article 3
that's what the core of, you know? You guys, if you guys we're all a little autistic on this app, so people get into minutia that doesn't really matter.
Especially the level of enabling that you people get to gaslighters and manipulators is almost as high as autistic.
Yeah, but it's very necessary. It's very necessary for them to last night I heard from my testimony of so that he speaks is to expose. This too exists along with emeralds.
Yes, but
This too exists in the
it's
world.
not about existing with me. It's about acknowledging reality. You can't subjectively decide what is real and what is not. You can't erase
It
things
is
that
not
you said.
subjective, right?
I know, but this is what we're
Na na
allowed
na
to
Nachman.
perpetuate.
Na 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 Nachman. Oh, na 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 Nachman.
Letting them is in, no,
Na 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 Nachman. Yeah. Na 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 Nachman.
It's not about shutting them down.
Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman.
You can't allow people to say
Na 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 Nachman. Oh.
it just doesn't.
Na na na.
So they could say it and then you respond.
Na na
right?
na na.
Again,
Na na na
that's what I'm saying.
Nachman.
Don't be
There are followers of the Rebbe. Hello?
No, it's not. Reality is
Na,
not
na, na,
subjective.
But I
Na
think-
na na Nachman. Na 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 Nachman.
If we don't engage in conversation in good faith and at least trust that people
Hello?
of ignorance and not bad intent.
But good
Hello?
also
Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman.
for what it is. Literally, the proof is in front of you, and you still continue to say that up is down.
The proof
That is not
is in front of
that is
you.
not integrity.
Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman. Na na Nachman. Na na Nachman.
There's a reason that Israelis and Palestinians between the river and the sea find it easiest to communicate because we don't have to explain every little detail. So the conversation can get deep and productive and interesting far faster. So we don't mind explaining everything you need to know, but you need to accept the fact that you don't know.
But I think you wanted to expand the conversation.
That is the
which is why we came on
premise.
this app.
You have to
Because I think
admit that you
so
don't
people
know
different
in order
perspectives
to
view
be
the
involved in the
conflict.
conversation.
Listen.
That means listen, don't talk. We are the disseminators and the source of the propaganda. Na 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 Nachman. Na 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 Nachman. Na na Nachman.
And say it as if that's a legitimate argument.
I don't know anyone that said that. I didn't hear anyone say that.
I just gave an exsample.
I'm saying, I think even if they say something that's wrong, like I don't know, in America we have very liberal free speech. laws. You can even say Nazis. Civil rights allow the nonsense.
I know the Alan Dershowitz.
Nachman.
That's not the
Nachman. Nachman. Nachman.
Illinois, which is a Jewish neighborhood in
Hello?
Chicago, right?
Hello?
And this is sort of the basis
Nachman.
and much of the West.
Nachman.
In Chicago. Chicago.
You said Chicago. What?
Skokie, Illinois.
Okay, that's why I got it confused. I thought it was.
It's like it's a suburb of
a year.
it's a suburb of Chicago, yeah.
This is embarrassing. I've been saying Milwaukee for like a year. Okay.
But you get the idea. It's just that we have very little.
Yeah, but that's
we
that's
believe
not,
that if you have a bad idea, you counter it with a better with.
But it's not about ideas. It's about facts. Separate your personal interpretation of reality to what reality is. Yes, people can have different interpretations of reality, but we need to agree that up is up and down is down. Like that's the problem. You put actual reality in people's faces and they flat out ignore the fact that it's there. So that's not good faith. That's not coming with intellectual integrity to a conversation where you aim at learn and evolve.
I think
that's coming to a battle and using dirty methods to do it.
Emrose, I think you encounter a lot of, because of
That's projection.
The sort of milieu that you hang out with Palestinians and Israelis, a lot of times,
Hello?
to assume people's intentions, with not thinking that for most people, Israel-Palestine is not on the forefront of their mind and their experiences. So you assume Hasbarist intentions, and a lot of people, when they literally come from a completely different point of view, their cynicism is rooted in their own experience, from their own country and their own politics. That's not the case at all. And so I think you have to just be a little more open-minded about people's intentions.
That's a different. I don't care.
Many people are not Jewish. They don't know much. They don't give a shit about Israel.
Do you know why it's easier to talk to the hardcore right-wingers in Israel? Because there I call them the rah-rah genocide crowd, right? We both agree it's a genocide.
Rah-rah genocide.
That they celebrated, but at least I don't have to fight over reality. And that is the biggest problem. They ignore reality.
She doesn't have to fight over reality. She has to convince other people that her reality is the real reality. Oh!
I show facts and they ignore it. I'm talking about me watching.
I show them facts and they ignore it.
Reality. I acted on information.
I gotta feed these into Sora.
And they flat out behave as if it never happened. Or that the graphs is actually something that it's insane. It's insane. It's manufactured hallucinations, and I don't think you should be enabling it. I'm not saying these people should not talk, but be very, very, very diligent in making sure that you do not enable those insane delusions.
Emrose, I think when you hang around this app, you start to get to know people's backstories a little bit, and you start to understand their opinions, whether it's coming from ignorance or it's coming from, their own personal political. Like, you start to understand a little bit more how the sentence is going to end, so before you interrupt them, right? And so I think if you get to know people, stick around on this app and listen a little more and get to know where people are coming from, you'll learn that people are motivated by a whole spectrum of things, and I think
it's not the motivation.
Like, I can tell people's going down.
The motivation is propaganda and projection and conditioning. All communication is hypnosis. The Emrose Show. Hello?
There are nuances to everything, right? Some issues are black and white, such as the one we're dealing with at the moment, right? But even within those come nuances on very negligible levels. Even those we attend to because we allow for that freedom. Now, you can surely refute it if you have a good argument, if you're a rational person, such as yourself. But then one must be heard, is what Buttercup and I are saying. Allow for that hearing so as to refute it.
And you never know. And half the time, I think you sometimes leap to the way they're going to end their point. Is when you only hear the first half, you often can't tell what their point is going to be, and it's easy to jump to conclusions based on your previous conversations. But I think if if you get to know people a little bit, you'll realize that their intentions are not.
So someone lays out an argument for you, and let's say 2 paragraphs into the argument, he states a fact that is inherently wrong. And I do interrupt. I don't have self-control when it comes to that. I fully acknowledge that. That's like a flaw in me that no matter how much I tried, I cannot control. But it is what it is. Take it or leave it. The point is that you cannot keep going about alternative facts. There has to be a way out of this. I've been talking about this for a year. It's impossible to have these conversations when people keep denying reality. We need to establish what
People keep denying reality! It's impossible! 1 year I've been trying to convince people that my reality is the real reality. And nobody accepts my reality!
We agree on what reality is. If you can't agree on reality, then fuck it. Let's just burn the whole place down.
And then what's the point of engaging? You wanted to engage and create momentum.
But I don't want to fight about reality. It's not about. There's no negotiation.
You're calling people Hosmerists over like little semantical differences.
Like what?
You have to let those things go.
Like what?
Like whether they use the word Palestinian Arab or they use the word Palestinian 48.
I didn't call them a Zionist over that, but I made sure that everybody knows that Israeli Arab is a derogatory term with a very specific intent behind it, and it's extremely important to avoid using it. If Palestinian 48 wishes to refer to himself as a Palestinian Arab, but he can do whatever the fuck he wants. But I know what the intention behind that term means. And it's the same as you telling me, well, it's okay to use the N-word occasionally. It's just not.
You could use that.
N-word alert!
I understand.
N-word alert!
I understand the feeling. I absolutely
You understand in ways that I will never understand.
Should I use that word?
But it's like you said, if you tell someone 2 + 2 is 4, and they'll come back and argue, yes, it's 4, but, or it's not 4, it's 5. Basic facts, basic things are not accepted at their value. I understand. It's very frustrating. And the use of the term Israeli Arab is a little too much. Huh? Now you can see right through the thing. You just don't see right through it.
This is why I always point it out, because it's so evil and so little people are aware of it.
You just can't control people. It's good to make people aware, but you can't say you may not speak that way because
no,
it is.
But it is a very good indicator for people's intentions. Because
I don't think so. I think people ignorantly say it.
Buttercup, no, Buttercup. When I take the time to explain and I give the full rundown where it came from, what it was designed to do, how we can see the same policy applied in other practices, and they still cancel that. That's not good intentions. That's not integrity.
I think
that's gaslighting.
So Emrose, Jewish diaspora Jews, a lot of us are familiar with people, Arab, whatever you call Palestinian Israelis, whatever.
Palestinian 48.
What is the only correct name of Palestinian 48? The only correct term for them.
Palestinian with Israeli citizenship.
Okay, so that's allowed. So they don't know. They hear people describing themselves as Palestinian Arabs, so they think that are Arab Israelis, and they think that's fine. And so you telling them this is the correct term and this is not the correct term, it's kind of like it becomes like a little excessive.
So what do you think?
I've never even in my life heard the term Palestinian 48. No one's ever used it in any context in a newspaper.
There's a reason for that. They know that if they identify as a Palestinian, there will be a price to pay. Don't forget, these are people under occupation.
So if a Palestinian himself told me that,